Hi guys, in today's video we are going to do a mobility session. So we're going to start off with some mobility through the thoracic spine. So we're going to flip over onto our mats and we are going to get into a quadruped position. So our palms are going to be stacked under our shoulders, knees are going to be directly under our hips, and you can keep those toes nice and flexed, and we are going to press the ground away, taking a nice deep breath in. And then as we exhale, we're gonna drop our belly, bringing our head to the ceiling. And we're gonna do a few more rounds. Inhale as you arch that back, and then exhale as you drop your belly down. Now, you're just gonna do this in breath cycles. So do this as you take a nice deep breath in and out. So again, you just wanna get connected to that breath as you come up. Take that deep breath in and exhale as you arch that back or drop that belly down, looking towards the ceiling. If it takes you a little bit to get connected there, that's all right. Take the time that you need. Now we're going to do one more breath cycle. So deep breath in and deep breath out. All right, we're gonna stay in this quadruped position, and we're gonna take that right hand, we're gonna place it right behind our ears. We're gonna bring that elbow down to that left hand, and then slowly up towards that ceiling. Now we're gonna get connected to that breath. So deep breath in as you come down, and then deep breath out as you bring that elbow towards that ceiling. Good, now same thing. Don't do this too quickly. You're just gonna do this in breath cycles. So inhale as you bring that elbow down. Nice. Exhale as you point that elbow towards the ceiling. Good. Let's do one more breath cycle. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Great. Now we're gonna take that arm, we're gonna reach it towards the ceiling, and then we're going to reach under that arm. We're gonna sink our hips down, and you should feel a stretch on this outside of your shoulder here. And we're just gonna stay in this position here for just a moment, just for a few breath cycles. So take a nice deep breath in and deep breath out. Let's stay here for 2 more breaths. One more breath cycle. And deep breath out. All right, and then we're gonna come back to that quadruped position. And same thing, we're gonna take that left hand now, we're gonna bring our fingertips to our ears, bring that elbow down, deep breath in, and deep breath out as you bring that elbow towards the ceiling. Good, now just maintain that connection to your breath. So here, we are just getting a little bit more mobility throughout the thoracic spine here. So deep breath in, nice deep breath out as you point that elbow up. And we're gonna do one more breath cycle. So deep breath in and exhale. Now reach up towards that ceiling, same thing, you're gonna reach under your arms, sink your hips back, and reach, and extend that other arm forward. You should feel a nice deep stretch near that left shoulder blade, and just take a few deep breaths here. Good, let's take 2 more breaths. And one more. Good, and we're gonna come right on back to that quadruped position. You can shake your tailbone if you need a little more movement there. And now we're gonna move down the chain towards our hips. So here we are going to do a hip flexor stretch. So we're going to get into a half kneeling position. So where your knee is directly under your hip, your other knee is directly over your ankle. You can either flex those toes back here for more quad activation, or you can keep them pointed. I'm gonna keep my pointed. And we're just going to squeeze, keep that foot directly behind. We don't wanna be, you know, we just want it to be directly behind that knee. Now squeeze this right glute or posteriorly tilt that pelvis. You should feel a nice deep stretch right in front of that hip, and just hold here and take some nice deep breaths. Stay nice and tall. Good. It's just a little bit of a stretch here. Now, if you have really tight hip flexors, you actually might be feeling this quite a bit more, but this is a good stretch to do throughout the day. You can do it multiple times a day, especially if you tend to sit quite a bit at work or just throughout the day. This would be a great stretch to do. So now we're gonna go ahead and relax. Good, and we're gonna switch sides. So I'm gonna turn so that way y'all can see. So same thing, knee over ankle, knee under hip, keep that foot directly behind that knee. I'm gonna keep my toes pointed and then squeeze that glute or posteriorly tilt that pelvis. You should feel that stretch. Now you might notice one side you're feeling that stretch a little bit more on. That's okay, that can be normal. So just hold and then take some nice deep breaths here. Good. Now, a lot of times you might see some hip flexor stretches where you're seeing someone go all the way, almost like a Titanic pose, but really for when we only have about 15 to 20 degrees of hip extension, which is this here. And so if the outcome is to really just stretch those hip flexors, then you just want to stay within that 15 to 20 degrees that we naturally have. If you're getting more than that, that mobility is coming from other places here. So good. All right, now I am going to go ahead and stand up from that position. I'm going to place one hand on the wall, and I'm just going to gently grab one of my ankles and bring it to my seat here. Good. So getting a nice deep quad stretch. And just take some nice deep breaths here. And we're gonna hold this for 2 more breaths. So deep breath in and deep breath out. Take 1 more deep breath in and let it go. Good. Now we're gonna go ahead and switch sides. We're gonna grab that left heel, or left ankle, I mean, bring it to your seat, bring that heel to seat, getting a nice deep stretch in that quad. And take some deep breaths. All right, let's hold this for 2 more breath cycles. So take a nice deep breath in and let it go. Nice deep breath in and let it go. Good, good. So now that we're standing, we're gonna do a toe touch. So just very slowly, you're just going to vertebrae by vertebrae, slowly reach towards, my sweatshirt's getting a little tight there in the shoulders, reach down towards your toes. Can hold for just a second and then slowly vertebrae by vertebrae come right back up, and we're going to do that again. So deep breath in, and on the exhale slowly reach down towards your toes. You can see I got a little further that time, and now same thing, come right back up and right back down. Now you can do this in your own tempo. Just try to match it to that breath. Inhale as you come up, exhale as you reach down. You can play with it. You can kind of move your hips a little bit. That's gonna it's just gonna stretch a few more muscle fibers. So I'm just gonna come right back up. And we'll do 2 more. I'm gonna reach on down. And go ahead and do 1 more. I'm just gonna grab a book here because I wanna show you how you can also just switch this up a little bit. Now, if you wanna, you can always switch this up by placing something under your toes and reaching down. You'll feel a little bit more stretch through the calves, and you can come right back up. So that's just a little bit more stretching. And then if you can't reach your toes, you can just slightly bend those knees, so that way you can get just a little bit further and then come right back up. And then you can also place that, I'm just gonna scoot this back here. You can place it under your heels. That way you just get, it gives you a little bit of a deeper stretch as well. So this is just a toe touch progression. This is a great thing to do. You can do this in the morning. You can do this before you go to bed at night. This is something I do before every run. If I don't have the mobility to touch my toes before my run, I know something is off and I need to do a little bit more stretching. So, all right, since we've gone through that toe touch, we are gonna walk ourselves out into kind of a down dog position here. And if you have the space, make sure you have room here. I am just going to lift my right foot up, and then I'm gonna bring that knee through my hands, and I'm just gonna come into a pigeon pose here. And you can either, do what feels best. We're getting some external rotation here. And I'm just gonna come forward and drop down onto my hands. You can hold yourself up if you'd like, but you can just stay here for a few breath cycles. Take some nice deep breaths. Nice deep breath in. And let it go. Again, nice deep breath in. And let it go. We'll do one more. All right, and we're just gonna come right back up. I'm gonna flex my foot back here, and I'm just gonna press the ground away as I send that right leg back to that starting position. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with my left foot here. I'm gonna lift my left leg in the air and then bring my knee through my hands. And same thing, I'm just gonna come right on down. Now you might notice a difference in your hip mobility. My left leg, obviously I can't get my shin quite in that same position as my other leg, but that's something we're working on. That's the great part about this, is we can always get better, we can always improve, and it's okay if there's a little bit of that difference. So you just know what side you might want to stay. We can always do this side again, or stay here a little bit longer, but just take some nice deep breaths. And stay here as long as you need. All right, let's do one more breath cycle. So deep breath in and let it go. Good. All right, so I'm just gonna flex those toes again behind me, press my palms into the ground, send that left leg up, and I'm gonna come right back down to that position. Now I'm gonna place my knees on the ground here, kind of going back into that starting position, and then I'm just gonna put my toes together, bring my knees to the opposite, both sides, and now I'm just gonna end here. We're gonna end this with a child's pose or a lat stretch, however you wanna refer to it. So you're gonna send your seat back towards one end of the mat and then reach your fingertips towards the opposite end. You should feel a nice deep stretch through your upper body here, through your upper back. And just take a nice deep breath. Each deep breath, every exhale, you can try to reach those fingertips a little bit longer, a little further. And you can stay here just as long as you need. All right, let's do one more deep breath in. I feel like one of my kitties is coming and investigating. That's Eleanor. And deep breath out. All right, we can walk ourselves up. Hi, Eleanor. Oh, see, she's very playful. This is Eleanor. Ow, oh, that hurt. She doesn't have a tail. Actually, I found her, she could fit in the palm of my hand. I found her in the marsh. When she was about probably 4 weeks old. I found her while I was on a run doing a bridge loop out in the marsh. We were running and heard a loud, actually I thought it was a bird. And it was so loud. And I walked out into the marsh and happened to see this tiny little kitten just sitting there. And carried her, wrapped her up in my half zip, ran back to the car. And fortunately, my husband is as much of an animal lover as I am, and fortunately she was healthy. We took her to the vet. She was healthy. We have another cat, so she had like kitten AIDS or something like that. We wouldn't be able to keep her with the other cat. So, but she was perfectly healthy, and now she's big and playful, as you can see here. All right, guys, great session today. Have a great rest of your day and week.